Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Spiritually Speaking. Today, I have the beautiful Ashlea Piefer with me. This is Metaphysical Ash for when you are ready to awaken the technology of your soul through her signature modality, the body matrix. She offers sound baths, psychic parties, soul sessions, among other things. So, or when you are ready to live life fully turned on, she is the person you want to call. Thank you for joining me today, Ashley. I'm so happy that you said yes to my invitation.
Oh, likewise. I'm excited to have this conversation and put it out there. I've already enjoyed your energy so much.
Oh, thank you so much. And we had a great pre-chat, and we're going to have a beautiful conversation today as well. I'm excited to see what comes forward. I don't plan these podcasts out, so whatever you feel like you'd like to tell us about today, but I am really curious about the body matrix. So can you tell us a little bit about that to begin with?
Yeah, the body matrix came to me after years of working on my own body. I went through a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, and the awakening taught me about the chakras as gateways, as portals to the past and to the future. The body matrix is the modality that I created that brings all of you into the now moment. And from that place, we eradicate some of the past programs, collapse those timelines, those potentials. We align ourselves with our highest potential to bring in that aligned future. And that's what we do in the body matrix. So honestly, it was developed through years of experience, manipulation, interference on my energetic field from energies, entities. I found that within my blood, there were contracts and covenants to different things beyond the veil. And I wanted something that could help others so they didn't have to go through what I went through. So I created the body matrix. It's amazing for empaths, psychics, those who are aware of what's beyond the veil and those that aren't, but know that there's something a little bit off with how their structure of reality is being created. So I created that modality.
That sounds amazing. So how did you realize that you had contracts from things outside of the veil, so to speak?
Yeah. A couple ways. So, situations in my life, I was experiencing patterns of behavior around sexuality, finances, relationships, both romantic and friend relationships, and I couldn't figure out why am I attracting, magnetizing, manifesting these types of experiences? Is there something wrong with me? And I kept going deeper. I
Yeah.
started to go deep into my body, into my organs, eventually into my blood, into deep, deep meditation to figure out what is this? What is this information that's creating my reality in this way? And that's when I found out that we actually carry coding from our ancestors. It
Mm.
doesn't reset for the human being, we perpetuate it. And that's when I started to unravel what that was. Understanding some of the things that exist beyond the veil, which are not so much pro humanity. They actually distort us in a way that siphons our life and light force into other space and time vectors, fueling some of the issues that humanity is actually going through, contributing to these paradigms. So within each of us, through no fault of our own, a lot of the times, we're participating in creating these paradigms that fuel a lot of the global issues. And I didn't want to participate anymore. And when I know better, I started to do better. And a big part of that was what I call the body matrix, which is basically a complex way of consecrating your body, all your systems, in service to your soul. Then you awaken the technology of your soul, your life starts to change. You feel younger, you feel healthier, you don't attract the same type of people. Life gets a little bit easier.
Yeah. It's really common for us to feel like there's something wrong with us. So I love that you said that because that's where most of us go right off the bat is like, what's wrong with me? Why am I, drawing in these people. There's got to be some reason, like we don't feel worthy and we don't love ourselves enough to realize that we can create differently. So I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, that was a big one, Dee. I thought there was something, I'm like, maybe I'm dark because not only can I feel it, some of us have that knowing. There's probably going to be people watching this. They just know. But then there's others who can see. They can
Mhm.
see the energies, they can see the entities. Why are they coming towards me? And there's a lot of information out there that, oh, if it's coming towards you, you're a match. Yes and no. Because although I've eradicated a lot of that stuff, I still see it. It still comes towards me, not because it exists within me, but because I'm a threat. I know it exists. I know how it sustains itself. So there's that part too that has us questioning, is it me? Am I dark? Is there something wrong with me because I'm experiencing these things and seeing these things? Not necessarily. You might be the key to eradicate it, to
Uh-huh.
help transition some of that stuff off the planet.
Yeah. That's really powerful too, to realize that I mean, because that's a total shift in perspective, from one of victim to one of power.
Yeah, yeah. So for those who are watching, maybe recognize that in yourself. If it's coming towards you, there's nothing that you can't handle. Because if you couldn't, then it wouldn't. You just have to find that seed, that essence, that power inside of you, expand it
Mhm.
and use it to your advantage. Command your right to be here and to create the life you desire.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful statement. I'm super happy that you just said that. It's absolutely beautiful. And I'm very curious because you talked about going deeper from the organs and actually going into the blood through meditation and thought processes. What made you go to the blood specifically? Was that something that you learned from someone else, or was that something innate in yourself that you felt you needed to do?
It was innate. At the beginning of my journey, I was actually feeling called and pulled to go to certain locations and give my blood. I did not do that. I understood what that was. It was a manipulation. So I started to learn about the significance of our blood a long time ago. And through the awakening, I've connected with different guides and beings beyond the veil. And I've been supported through synchronicity. So it's like I get this knowing, and then I follow the white rabbit, which leads me to deeper understanding of reality. What's happening here? How have the fields been manipulated? And a big portion of it is our blood, the sequence. It's like broken down into a code, and that can be manipulated through frequency.
Mhm.
So I can't really pinpoint the exact moment. I think I actually knew some of this when I was a teenager. And then as an adult, it just all started coming together. That the blood directly contributes to the DNA, and then the DNA sequence speaks to the external reality, what we create for ourselves, and then what we add to the co-creation of the collective. Our blood is so significant. So
Mhm.
heavy metals, parasites, toxins in our blood, it not only makes us, uneasy, unhealthy, but it contributes to a lot of the constructs of reality.
Yeah, it really does. And that's really like such a deep thought. Most people are going to be like, that is so over my head, I don't understand. So for people who may be listening to this who feel this is so far above their heads right now, how can we bring it down to um, phraseology and verbiage that they can understand and wrap their head around?
Healthy body is in alignment with nature, with the living light. Um, when we're healthy in our blood, the blood speaks to all the systems. All of your systems are directly connected to the micro. So you're the macro, you're a cell in the planetary body, connected to the macro, which is the structure and alignment of the planets. When we have all of that in coherence, meaning coherence is there's nothing in between you and that wholeness, that living light. There's no um, nanotech. There's no heavy metals. There's no stagnant emotion in the physical body. It just becomes more coherent. You're coherent with the laws of nature. Does that make sense?
It does to me. I'm the barefoot girl in the park every time I go.
There, just right, just like that. So that exchange, you with nature, if we look at nature, we can learn a lot. Nature's in harmony.
Mhm.
Nature knows how to nature. The human doesn't always know how to human, but why is that? What's different between the human and nature? We have a seed of creation. The human body operates as a hologram, and within that hologram, these interferences create reflections and refractions of your light. And the technology is so advanced that your light can be fragmented into different space and time vectors. So in the body matrix, when we bring ourselves into the now, we're collapsing those timelines, meaning we're bringing all your light into the now moment, and we're removing the reflections and distortions in your field that would project your light essence into different space and time vectors. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's a very interesting visual. I'm a
That's
very
how
visual person, so when people talk, I see things, and it's a very beautiful visual as well. So it's fascinating, and I like have so many questions for you, and I feel like they're all kind of glommed up into a big ball right now. I'm having a hard time separating them out. Um, so how can people bring themselves more into the now moment where they feel like they're more coherent? I know one of my favorite ways, as I said, is to walk barefoot in nature. Like I actually wrapped my arm around a tree today and laid my head against the trunk of the tree because it's so the and it was like all of these, it was like this effervescent feeling came through my arm and my shoulder and my head and just went throughout my whole body. And it was just so amazing. And I know there are people that are going to listen to this and they're going to think that that's just completely insane, but it was real. I felt every single bit of it. So beyond connecting with nature in the ways that I just described, how else can someone bring themselves into the moment where they're not refracted all over the place? They're in kind of one cohesive state.
feel your body. So you're present in your body, out of the mind into the body. Like right now, I'm present with my bones, my soft tissue, my skin, and then 360-degree awareness. And this is what I teach in the body matrix. It's a completely different way of being human. So you're aware of yourself, you're aware of your senses, clothing on the skin, temperature of the air, taste in your mouth. We're bringing our awareness to our physical body, which is this is the ultimate technology. There's so much you can do with this. So I'm aware of how I'm sitting. I'm aware of what's behind me. I can hear your voice. I know your voice, but then I know what's me, what's you. So this is a tool for empaths too. People that are highly sensitive can get overwhelmed easily. Start to cultivate these practices. You're going to start to bring yourself into the now. And when you're going through things, tune into your body. When you have your cycle, tune into your body. When you have a cold, tune into your body. Just by bringing awareness to it. One, you can shift it, but you're building that mind body awareness. And eventually, your body will start speaking to the mind. You'll know exactly what you need when you need it because now you're in communication with your biology. Does that make sense?
It does. Why do you feel like people have such a difficult time connecting to their bodies and allowing themselves to? know when they're thirsty, know when they're hungry, know when they need to rest, those types of things.
Oh man, we're so overstimulated everywhere. Everywhere you go, you're driving down the street, you turn on your TV, you turn on your radio, frequency, 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 stimulation. So how can we ever know what's ours and what's other if we never sit in stillness? And
Mhm.
some people are so uncomfortable sitting in stillness because their body's not their own. The frequencies running through them are programs projected from the external. That's how a majority of our planet runs.
Mhm.
They don't know who they truly are because they're consuming. They're just consuming, 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 and then reflecting, reflecting, reflecting. But when you sit with yourself, like you did in nature, one, you're tuning into the ultimate technology that is organized, free of distortion. And two, you're creating an intentional entanglement with your body, which shifts you. You felt that. I think
Yeah.
we're overstimulated. And part of it's intentional because we have this creator seed inside of ourselves that contributes to paradigm. I mean, we're creator beings. This is what makes the human so different than any other species. We create. That's significant. I've always felt that the greatest commodity on our planet, it's not gold, it's not trees, it's not water, it's attention. If
Mm,
you can control the attention, you can control the soul, you control everything. What controls the mind, the attention controls everything. We got to take our power back. So rather than going to the doctor and them, you need this, this, and this medication, let me sit with myself for a week, once a day, maybe 10 minutes, an hour, if you can really, that'd be great. And quiet and get to know my body. What does it want me to know? And sometimes it takes a while, but it's worth it because you start to become your own authority. Nothing outside's telling you who you are, what you need. You got it. You're linked in, you're locked in.
yeah. And it's such an interesting way of addressing what's going on, referring to the human self as technology. And I have listened, and we've spoken now a couple different times about Dr. Greg Braden briefly. And that's one of the things that he talks about is that we are like the most amazing technology. And I know that the majority of people on this planet would never consider that we're technology at all because we're just like these humans, right? And we feel like a lot of us that that's not enough, that's less than, and that AI is better and robots are better somehow and things like that. So, how would you phrase or term differently the technology that we actually are so people can understand that we actually are technology and that we're the very best technology because I love that, like we don't need implanted things in our brain and all of these things that are real things now. They're not, this is not like futuristic kind of stuff. This is stuff that's happening now. People have these implants in their brains, and we hear a lot about spinal stimulators for nerve pain in the low back and things like that as well. So I'd love it if you would speak on that a little bit more.
Well, okay, Dee, I'm gonna be honest. In my opinion, I think that we've actually passed the choice point and humanity will be integrating with AI. Like you said, it's already happening.
Mhm.
So the key is not to lose ourselves in that, not to let it use us, but we use it. And I saw an article the other day because this has been on my mind. I think about the implications of AI and the data centers and what they could do to the planet. And then I saw something the other day, and it was a city, I think it was Norway or Stockholm, where they had actually positioned their data centers under the ground and that would recycle and heat the homes on top. So I believe we're past that point, that choice point that we had. Humanity will be integrating with artificial intelligence. The key is for us to use it and not allow it to use us. And in my opinion, we are the original AI.
Mhm.
It's just a replica. It's just another layer of creation that we get to play with. But we are the original. And there was someone I watch, his name's Ralph Smart, and he says, you don't need 5G when you're in 5D. So that's fifth dimensional consciousness. Isn't that the coolest thing?
That
That's
is such
always
a good
stuck with me.
statement.
Ralph Smart said that. You don't need 5G when you're in 5D because your fifth dimensional awareness is locked in to past, present, and future all at once. You're creating it,
Mhm.
and you're aware of your body, and you're aware of the interconnectedness. You can access what you need when you need it through intention because you know how to pause and you know how to tune your station to your genius, to the genius that's available through the quantum field. So you have it. Every single one of us has it. Unfortunately, some people's biologies have been so manipulated, so distorted that maybe they will acclimate to the AI. And does that serve the soul in some way, shape, or form? I don't know. I can't be, I can't really determine if it does or doesn't because I'm still figuring that out myself. I want to believe that we can use it to our advantage. And when I tune into some of the other species out there through my higher self, some of them are very much acclimated to AI. They might not reproduce the same way we do, but they exist. They sustain themselves. That's my thought on that.
Yeah, that's deep. That's really, really deep.
We're
So
having deep conversations.
I love the deep conversations are my absolute favorite, as we've discussed. And I know that, I mean, I actually had a conversation with a very important member of my family. And I said, I know you think I'm crazy. And if that's the case, then half this planet is crazy too, because there are so many people talking about this stuff. I mean, at some point in the way I look at it is that at some point you have to acknowledge how many people are talking about it. And does that not give it some sort of validity? You know, like I realize that we've kind of cycled through these different periods of time where it's okay to talk about this stuff because like that's how people lived and moved things for a while, and then it kind of shifted to where it was a big no-no, and then it was talked about a little bit but only in like these secret circles, and now I feel like we're coming into a time where it's becoming more to the forefront. The light is being shown on it in such a way now that it can't be ignored anymore. And I love that you brought up 5D because I feel like that we are in this space already. It's not something that's coming, it's already here. It's kind of like that line in Twister where they're waiting for the tornado to drop and they're like, it's already here and it was there already. I feel like that's kind of where this consciousness thing is right now. It's happening.
Yeah, it's definitely happening. I feel it here with you. I can feel the fifth dimensional awareness. Like I see you as an extension of myself. I can recognize your brilliance and the capacity of your heart. Um, Part of that, I think, you being on the front line is because you're an evolved soul. What animates your physical body is evolved. You're on the front line of this shift and this change. And that takes a lot of courage. And I recognize that in you. And it's beautiful to be here with you. And then sometimes I leave my house and I enter a pocket and I'm not in the 5D. I've dropped back, I've fluctuated back into my 3D, and I'm not accepting the structure. But the more we go, the easier it gets to maintain the fifth dimensional presence. And we'll find larger pockets. I call them pockets of the planetary field that are predominantly in that. Nature's there. The
Hmm.
humans just have to catch up. It's us that have to catch up,
Hmm.
but nature's already there.
Yeah.
And it's a gift when I get to have that with people like you.
Thank you so much for saying that. And I feel like that as well. I feel like it is such a gift. It's just because I feel like it amplifies everything, you know? You're you're talking about it and then you like you said, we're kind of joined together and that amplifies. It's like taking two sources of light and putting them together and it just makes it bigger and brighter. And it's so beautiful. And it's so like I'm so beyond ready for this stuff, like I am and the conversations that it brings forth and everything because it's it's such an expansive energy. When you look at the edge of it, there is no edge because it just keeps going. It just keeps expanding and into this it's like infinity. There is no end to it. And you mentioned earlier about, you know, I can't remember how you worded it, but connecting to this energy. And I use the analogy of a light switch and the electrical current. That electrical current is always there. We don't always turn that switch on so that we can have access to it, but it's always there. And it's not separate from us. And that's one of the things that Greg Braden says also. People are talking about like it's the field out there, like it's this thing that's we have to seek to find it and somehow connect ourselves to it. But it's part of us. Like we are in it. We are part of the cosmic energy web, as I call it.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. And I see it like this. So humanity has a predominant frequency, like we're operating on wavelengths, and the more of us that can rise, through our inner work and having these types of conversations, connecting with others of like mind, like heart, the higher that vibrational resonance rises. And what I've seen, what I was told almost a decade ago when I started this journey, is that once that resonance hits a certain threshold, now we're locked in and linked in to something even greater, part of that infinity that is a network of other intelligence.
Mhm.
And now humanity's come out of that dark shadow period. I consider us like at the adolescence, juvenile stage. And as we raise into the unity, into the awareness of the interconnectedness, we release the judgments, the persecutions, the they're this, I'm that. No, we are, and
Mhm.
we unite with something even greater. And then things get really interesting. And I think we're so close. I
Yeah.
know.
I feel like we're so close too. And I've been listening to people like Pam Gregory. She's an astrologer that I listen to on YouTube. She's incredible. She's so sweet. And she talks about that. And I've heard other people talking about too, like how quickly this is happening, like in the next few years, that there's going to be a significant shift because we're already in it, but we're going to be able to see it more. It's going to become more obvious. How do you feel about that? Have you been able to hear a time frame from the beings that you communicate with?
10 years ago, when I started this, I was told I'd be preparing for contact ND. Throughout that period, there were times where I denied it. I questioned my sanity. Is this real? A few weeks ago, I went for a contact experience in the Blue Ridge Mountains and had contact. And then I went back a couple weeks later and had contact again. So it's real, it's happening. The first one, I actually have an image. Would you like to see it?
I would love to see it.
These things are real. The challenge is the dimensional bandwidth. So humanity's down here.
Mhm.
The other intelligences are in higher dimensional bandwidth. In order to meet us, they're like, well, why aren't they here? Why? Because it's uncomfortable for them to descend into the density that we reside in. We have to bridge that gap. It's really uncomfortable. It's like squeezing cheese through a grater. So it's happening. As much as my humanness is like, no, that's not real. What you see is what you get. My entire life has confirmed that's not always the case.
Mhm.
And dogs can hear sounds we can't, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. No, we're just Some of us just aren't aware of that. Doesn't mean it's not there. I feel like I'm digressing from your question. I'm going to find that photo. What was your question?
Um, that's a good question. What was my question? I was so caught up in what you were saying about because I've been to the Blue Ridge Mountains and I'm thinking like I've been there. And I have had so many different experiences too where I have had a life of seeing things and hearing things and experiencing things outside of what society calls the norm, and I don't even believe in normal anymore. I heard one time a long time ago that normal is an average of extremes, so you can just, whatever the situation is, normal is like in the middle of the road from the the different ends of the spectrum there. So I just got kind of caught up in that.
Can you see that there? I actually have this on my Instagram and on my Facebook. But if you look, you'll see the plasmic break. So we were in here meditating, and then this is the plasmic break of the spaceship
That is amazing. That's incredible.
happening. Contact is happening. It's happening all over the world. And they have the New Paradigm Institute pushing for age of disclosure. They just released a movie also, you know, talking about that. It's been here for a long time.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be us, the little people who bring this in. Well, we are disclosure. It's you, it's me having having these experiences as human beings with intelligence, which we think is external, but it's actually internal. It's
Right.
awakening within ourselves and then manifesting in our physical reality. The more of us that can break through some of these frequency barriers, the faster we rise to a higher harmonic, eradicate some of these global issues, and unite with the larger family of light.
Yeah. And that sounds just absolutely amazing to me because I feel like we are capable of so much more than we actually allow ourselves to experience, from healing our own bodies to telepathic communication to I actually just I'm in a telepathy tapes consciousness discussion group on Facebook. And I just actually downloaded an app for a study that they're doing right now on the power of the stare, like how many people can know when someone is staring at them. And I had my own experience with that when my kids were younger. My youngest son was probably an early teenager. He was probably 13 or 14 years old, and I'd fallen asleep on the couch. I was waiting for his dad to get home from work, and I fell asleep on the couch. And he woke me up out of a sound sleep by staring at me. And when I opened my eyes, his face was like 2 feet from my face, and it scared the crap out of me. So I like jumped up and screamed, and he screamed because I screamed, and we're standing there in the living room screaming at each other. But it was just from him staring at me. So I'm going to actually be doing that study. So I'm kind of fascinated to see how that turns out. But we're capable. My point being is that we're so much more capable of things than we give ourselves credit for. And I know that part of that is the density that we're in and the programming and the consumables. And you mentioned those earlier because we get that from everywhere. So, what do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's going to be more readily accepted that we're capable of so many more things? Or do you feel like that's something that's going to kind of just stay where it's at for a while?
I think paranormal is the new normal. I really do. And science is starting to quantify it too. Every thought we think, it creates an electric synapse. And this is why I get so frustrated sometimes with my partner because he'll say crazy things and I'm just like, you can't say that. You're feeding the quantum field. Every thought creates an electric synapse. We are creator beings. Where does that go? I could be, at home in my kitchen doing my thing. And then I close my eyes and I send an intentional wave to D. You're sensitive enough. You're probably going to feel it. It's like that. I mean, it's getting to the point where there's no more hiding. We're going to know exactly who people are. Now, will we trust ourselves? That's the question.
Mhm.
Because people are really good at wearing masks. Will we trust ourselves as those higher awarenesses come online? Because they will.
Mhm.
And then you intentionally cultivate it even faster, even stronger. That's what I do in the body matrix. We're cultivating higher sensory perception. And then you can trust yourself because now you can read energetic signatures. You know the meaning of the energy behind what they just did or what someone is presenting, um, even in some of these larger companies. You're going to be able to know, okay, I'm tuning into this brand. This does not feel in alignment. This feels like distortion and manipulation, and maybe what they're putting in their products isn't really for me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny you said that because I actually had kind of a reaction to a video, just a little reel that I was watching earlier. And I've been noticing that I've been really drawn to body movement reels here lately where people are sharing different ways to move your body to heal yourself, from muscle aches and pains and realign yourself and different and they're really quick little exercises that are just really simple. And this one guy, I've watched him a few times, and today I thought, no, you're just a show off. Like the whole energy of what he was doing, I'm like, no, you're just here so people can see what you're doing. It's not to actually, not saying that the things that he's doing won't help people. That's not what I'm saying, because they will, absolutely. But at the end of the day, the energy from the video I watched was one of, look what I can do, you know?
Yeah, that's
And I
the
picked up on
performance.
that so strongly.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been both. I think when we put ourselves out there, like, and sometimes we do, we gotta fake it. We show up, but the real ones are gonna know. But
Mhm.
that's also our human. Like, I've had some amazing stuff I've put out there when I've been in full alignment and authenticity, and then I've put some stuff out there where it's like, well, I just did this because I needed to do something, and
Yeah.
that's okay. Like, I give myself grace, and I'll give others grace too because I know it's part of being human. But
Mhm. Yeah.
you know people are gonna see that. And I know like they're gonna know if it's authentic and real and if it's not. And we gotta be okay with it because we can't be perfect all the time.
Right. It's that human factor. One of the things I've been
Yeah.
saying is the human factor is strong sometimes. It is really, really strong sometimes. And no matter what, we are in this human incarnation. And we do need to give ourselves grace because that's going to pop up. I mean, I always say, I'm not a robot, I'm a girl, you
Yeah.
know? I'm a girl and I'm going to feel the feelings sometimes. I'm going to make the mistakes sometimes and say things that in a way that's not the most efficient, or I'm going to, like have a reaction to something or whatever. And at the same time, we have to give ourselves room. So it's not about being perfect because I don't even feel like that is a thing. And at the same time, it's everything because everything is perfect, right? So it's paradoxical, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I value the authenticity. And
Yeah.
I find it so admirable because one thing I struggle with is showing up when I don't feel it. Because
Mhm.
I don't want people to see me in that bad light. I don't want them to see my weekdays. I want to give them my best. But
Mhm.
when people do show up in those places and spaces, I admire it. I find it to be really courageous.
Mhm.
And that's an area where I can learn. I think we all have areas that we excel and then areas where we're still learning. So
Mhm.
I admire it. Like I wouldn't want to I'd be cringing upon myself if I showed up and I've done it. Like, oh man, that wasn't the best of me. I really wasn't happy that day, but I was really trying to push through. Kudos to those who still show up even
Yeah.
on the day I'm not feeling.
It's really important, I feel like, for us to do that sometimes, and maybe not like I've said this before on my podcast episodes, not be a blubbering mess, You know what I mean? Like no one wants to see us ugly crying. Like those are private moments. They happen and there's nothing wrong with them, but we don't have to broadcast that to the world. But we can vulnerably share because I feel like you, I value that authenticity too because the human experience is not, on this even keel all the time. Sometimes it's very chaotic. The energy gets wild sometimes, and for us to be able to show up and share, like today, I'm just having a rough day, and these are the things I'm doing to bring myself back to center and get myself grounded, you know, and sharing that with people so that they understand no matter how lofty this gets, how successful your business is, in whatever way you feel like it looks successful. Because for some people, that's a number, that's a monetary number. They feel like they're only successful if they hit this mark every month monetarily. For other people, it's how many people they've helped during that time period, or whatever. So whatever that looks like, at the height of that success, it's beautiful, right? But for people to know that you still have those days when you're struggling to get through that day, I feel like that's really important because we need to know that that's what it takes sometimes to get to that place.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a quote, and it's the height of your light is the depth of your darkness. Like, how
Mm,
deep are we willing to go within ourselves? Because the depth you're willing to go within yourselves is the depth you're willing to meet the collective, because it's the interconnectedness.
yeah,
Could we have the same compassion for the victim as the victimizer, knowing they're both playing a different part of the same piece?
yeah. That's a really, really difficult one for a lot of people, you know? And it's so interesting that we're having this piece of this conversation right now because a friend of mine and I just talked about because she said, and I love how she course corrected during the conversation because she left me this voice message and she was just like crying and she's like, and I feel so bad, like, about how much time I wasted in this relationship and I spent X number of years and then she was like, but I had learned this lesson, like she went right to, I learned this lesson. Even through her tears, she realized that it wasn't really time wasted. It was a lesson learned. And the thing about that painful lesson is that we remember that, right? Like we remember that. So realizing that he was a catalyst for this lesson that she learned, that she would have never learned that without him. And I've had experiences like that myself. I would have never learned the lessons that I've learned. I wouldn't. And I feel like this is important to say here too, is that we have a choice. We have a choice when we encounter these painful experiences, whether we let it harden us or whether we let it soften us, because we can soften through those experiences even more and learn to love even more deeply and be more compassionate than we ever were before we experienced that experience.
You are so wise. I uh I see that as a slingshot moment. It's like that experience. I'm just gonna imagine an experience like that would probably take us to a deep depth of emotion. And that emotion is energy and motion, momentum. So imagine that. Imagine this relationship that takes you to this deep, dark depth, and you're down, you're in it, you're deep. And then you realize the lesson is like slingshot. Now you're gonna go so much farther.
Yeah.
We can use the energy and motion, the emotion. One misconception that I think is out there a lot is that anger, hurt, pain don't serve us.
Mhm.
I think they do. I think that
Yeah.
every emotion can serve us. And I think your friend is probably setting herself up for something pretty phenomenal.
Mhm. Yeah. I agree with you. And that's one of the things we talked about too. And the next day, she left me this other message and she's like, I've just been so emotional. And she's like crying again. And she's talking about the experience from a different angle. And I've been there. Like I lived through it too. Like I've had some horrible relationships in my past that were really difficult. And I know I'm not the only one. And as she's talking, I out loud, I go, girl, that's gratitude. Like these tears are tears of gratitude. And then it was so funny because right after that, she started talking about her gratitudes, how she was grateful to herself and grateful to him for giving the lesson and all of these things, because I feel like that is a huge piece too, is for us to experience that gratitude. And it can be really overwhelming sometimes. Like you're just like sobbing big crocodile tears because of how grateful you feel. Like your heart feels so full. And it's such a needle mover, I feel like gratitude.
Yeah, gratitude can get us out of a lot of dark places. It's an alchemy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the first journal experience that I committed to was journaling my gratitudes. Because I read something somewhere and it was like, just 5 minutes, set a timer and journal your gratitudes for 5 minutes, and then I, after a while, didn't need a timer anymore because I realized that for 5 minutes I could write about half a page of gratitudes, and I started getting into things that people don't ordinarily think about, because most of the time it's the go-tos, like my job, my house, my family, my kids, my dog, whatever. It's those things like that. And I started journaling about, I'm so grateful I have running water, you know, and I'm so grateful for my heart because it pumps the blood throughout my body every day. And I need that for everything I do. I mean, like when our heart isn't pumping our blood through our bodies, bad things happen, you know? So, and my veins, my blood vessels for carrying the blood throughout my body into all of my extremities and all of the places it needs to go. And it's amazing to me how many things, when you really sit down with that intention that you come up with, you could write gratitudes nonstop till the day you die if you really just sat down and thought about all of the things that there are to be grateful for. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like gratitude amps up the technology that we are?
I think gratitude can definitely lift your baseline. It can definitely help raise your vibration. Um, I think I'm gonna be honest. I think that there are times when gratitude can also keep us stuck and can stop us from progressing when we use it as a crutch
Mhm.
to avoid maybe some deeper things that are going on inside. I've seen that as well.
That's so
When we're
interesting.
yeah, when we're dissatisfied with our lives, rather than taking that imperative action to change it, we just shift to gratitude. It can raise your baseline, but don't let it trap you.
Mhm.
Don't let it trap you.
Do you feel like it's actually the gratitude that traps us, though, or is it the mindset around that? Because I understand what you're saying, and I feel like a lot of people feel like being grateful for what they have means that they can't want more. And I say that a lot. And I
Yeah.
actually just finished an ebook, and I put that actually in there too. That gratitude, having gratitude, doesn't mean you can't want more. We get to want more. We get to have all the things. And one of the phrases that the quotes that somebody said, and I think I don't want to call the person out. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to call them out. But there was a person who said that you can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time. And I feel like that is a very, um, while it sounds good, it's not at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's kind of going to get you stuck because I feel like we can have it all at the same time. But I do agree with you, but I don't feel like it's gratitude that sticks us. I feel like it's the mindset of feeling like if we're grateful for what we have, that we don't desire more.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, like for example, you have a situation in your life, you might be down or just lost your job, or you need to take action, and you're upset. You're like, well, I'm really upset. I'm feeling down. I'm feeling pain. I'm feeling this heaviness in my chest. I know what I'll do. I'll go into gratitude,
Mhm,
and gratitude can help raise your baseline. But why not use that discomfort to
mhm.
shift you? You know what I'm saying? Like you can use exactly what is where you are, to push you out of that dimension of reality, or because I've seen this, I've seen people do this, or you can move into gratitude for what you have and never leave that creation, remain in that dimension. Does
Yeah,
that make sense? It's
it
it's such
does.
an amazing tool, but you got to use it right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get across. It's an amazing tool, but you have to use it right. It can't be a crutch that you reach for every time you're presented with an opportunity to show up and step up.
Mhm.
You know this. It sounds like it's in your book.
That's like spiritual bypassing, right?
Yeah,
We've got to
yeah.
face it head on. And sometimes the things that, okay, for instance, my friend has a boss, had a boss in his business that got let go. And it was really like all of this emotional stuff happening and everything. Everybody was really surprised by it. It kind of came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? They don't usually, it doesn't come out of nowhere, but it was a very emotional. And I said, well, maybe this is the universe showing him that he needs to go another direction, because I feel like most of the time when people dig into something like that that happens, they will remember how many times recently they've said, oh, I'd really love to do this, but they're not going to, because they're in this safe space, of this comfort zone. So they're not going to pursue that. And then when it happens, they focus on the fact that it happened and how upset they are about it, instead of looking at, oh, now I can go do that thing I've been talking about for X number of months now.
Exactly. It's the you. It's the you in the universe. It's
Yes.
that individual who somehow manufactured that experience. And
Mhm.
what can we do with it?
Yeah. And now he's a consultant for doing the same thing, basically, making money and being his own boss, pretty much, which is
That's
amazing.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
How about knowing how to navigate our individual realities that we create?
Mhm.
Like, why have I created this? How is this serving me? What can I do with this? Where are the open doors and opportunities that I need to step through?
Yeah. And trusting ourselves that we have the technology, that we are the technology, right? One of the things that my friend Steve says is that when we talk about doing something, he says, we have the technology for that. You know what I mean? We have the technology for it, so we can do it. So when we realize that we are the technology, like what you teach, that's incredible. The doors that opens, and the ability to believe in ourselves that we're actually capable of doing those things that seemed out of reach before we had that realization.
Oh, it's key. Absolutely key. And if we can become an observer of who we are, of the part that we play, of this persona that's developed, that's a whole nother game changer. Because if you can observe your personality, you can shift it to serve you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
amazing.
what we do in the body matrix. You'll have to come join us sometime. We meditate every Wednesday. I do a different theme. Different frequency sets come through every Wednesday.
That sounds amazing. Different frequency sets. So do those come through, or do you plan those out? How does that work?
I kind of read the collective. I usually know, 48 to 24 hours. who's going to be there, or what frequencies I want to put out there. So I have like a neutrality. I have a few on my website right now. One of them's divine neutrality. So it's a frequency and an instruction set that tunes you to neutral. So if you're having a hard time with judgments of others or yourself, that's a really good one. I have another one that connects you with your guides. So it's a connection link between you, your higher self, and then everything in between connects you with your guides. I have another one that I did for pain, specific on the different joints which connect to the tree of life. So it kind of just depends on the week.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. There's a lot of people experiencing pain now. I've been listening to a lot of different things on this from different areas of expertise, and there's so many different modalities. But I feel like the bottom line with that, as well as, different diseases and things like that, is that we can really embrace the ability we have to heal our own bodies. You know,
Absolutely. That's it. That's it. If you know yourself, you can follow that stream and figure out where are those instructions coming from.
Mhm.
Like I did a meditation on my reproductive system. And the next thing you know, I'm uncovering significant information about my ancestral line. I called my mom. I said, "Hey, what do you know about your mom's mom?" And she told me some really juicy stuff about her mom's mother and what she went through, taking another woman's husband, trying to have children, not being able to have children. I was like, that's where that shame came from. Because I
Mm,
pinpointed it. And we can pinpoint it. The reproductive organs tend to be really heavy for women. We carry a lot. But like
yeah,
the lungs, you can pinpoint, and your consciousness will give you the information you need to eradicate it. So it was a liberation for my ancestors because I decided to go inward.
yeah.
That's what's possible.
Mhm. That's where that generational shift stuff comes in, right?
Mhm. Yeah, because we're carrying the code. We're coded with information from our ancestors. Until we shift it, it just perpetuates.
Yeah. And we don't want to perpetuate all that garbage. We want to clear that stuff out so we can move
Yeah.
forward and breathe a little easier, right? And yeah, just
I want to be
changes.
the purest version of myself, not,
Yeah.
my father's upline, my mother's upline. No, I want to be the purest version of myself possible.
Yeah. And you cleared out all that stuff after you found out this information, huh?
I mean, it's still a work in progress. New stuff comes up, you think you're done, and then all of a sudden I hit another layer, but it gets easier.
Yeah, it does. And the time frame that we are in that space gets shorter each time, I feel too.
I would say where I am, I've done a most of my earthly incarnations are collapsed. I'm working on cosmic and galactic patterning and archetypes now. That's where
That's
I'm at.
incredible. That's incredible. And for people who don't understand what you're saying, would you explain that a little more?
Yeah, so the living light that animates me, it's connected to a larger stream of consciousness. That stream can spread throughout time and space. So there's all aspects of me existing at once. Um, Through earthly incarnations of that soul light, parts get trapped. I reclaim those into this now. So that's where my organs have come into more coherence. I'm at ease. That was my earthly incarnations. And now I'm in the process of integrating my cosmic and galactic memories and rectifying those. Eventually, that leads to my higher angelic self, and then that leads to my source point. So I'm at a like a sixth dimension. That's where I'm at comfortably. And my conscious awareness fluctuates between 6 and 12. And at times, I go into the higher heavens, hitting like 22 and upward, but it's
Yeah.
not a steady. It's kind of just like a tap in. I touch it and then I get a little taste. And then, I continue to do my work, harmonizing all my chakra spheres until I hit source.
Wow. That sounds incredible. What's it like up there, 22?
Like everything and nothing. Like it's beyond polarity. It's beyond
Yeah.
form. It's just, um, you just are.
Yeah.
It just is.
I laughed about that when you said that because I said that same exact phrase in a session I had with somebody.
Because
Yeah.
you probably tapped into it through hypnosis. Is that what happened?
It was a Reiki session.
Okay.
It was, yeah, she took me on this it was supposed to be some kind of Akashic Records Reiki thing, and it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And I remember saying that exact phrase, I'm everything and I'm nothing at the same time.
And that's where you're not bound by your physicality. You're tuned in. You're within the essence of your higher angelic oversoul. But as beautiful as that is, this is amazing too. We
It
get
is
to
amazing.
feel, we get to taste, we get to touch, I get to see you, I get to feel the wind.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a desirable place to be. It took me a while to come to that, to
Oh,
accept that, and to fully embrace it because it's really painful in your body when your body's not your own and there's
mhm.
frequencies running through you that have been programmed and you got pain and discomfort and agitation.
Yeah.
But once you get, I think, to a certain light quota, you start to feel a little bit better.
Mhm. I use this term, I had to make friends with my humanness, you know, because I had so much fun playing out there. And I just recently read something else about this too. But we are in this human incarnation. So we are required to experience the experiences while we're here. And you can't do that fully. And when you're so disconnected from your body, you don't, on a regular basis, you don't realize what is happening here. So you can't process it if you don't feel it, you know? So I always tell people it's just as important to be grounded as it is to be connected to the higher vibrations because we are in this human experience and it requires both of those things simultaneously for us to experience life at the fullest capacity.
And that's how we bring in something new. I think a
Mhm.
lot of us heard the call. We heard the call to come here, to incarnate, to be the tuning forks for something new. So we have to be in our body,
Yeah,
not to get trapped in the higher realms, but to fully descend into the human body and then reascend
right.
physically.
Yeah. This is so amazing. I love this so much. And I'm so happy the way that you've brought it forward that we are this beautiful technology and that there are so many different ways to look at it and access it. One through meditation, which you mentioned, and you have that every Wednesday, correct?
Yep.
And is this in a special group that you have, or how would people access that Wednesday meditation?
You can sign up on my website. It's called the Body Matrix. It's under classes. I also have some replays, and then I do one-on-one sessions also. If they're looking for like some one-on-one attention, I'm actually really good at reading people's field. I can hear things through their voice, sense where they're from, what they might be carrying. So I do that in the one-on-one sessions, and yeah, we meditate on Wednesdays.
That sounds amazing. And I'm going to put all your information in the description box below this video, Ashley, so that people can find you with a click. And because I feel like the things you brought forward today are unique to what I have chatted about on my podcast before. So I'm really excited for this to drop and to hear the feedback from people on the topics that we talked about, because this is definitely something different than I have talked about before. And I love that because to me, it shows the evolution of what's happening not only on our planet, but for me personally. So I just think that's so great. And I'm so grateful to you for you being a part of it. I feel like this is very timely as well.
Yeah, I'm grateful for you for leading the way and putting yourself out there to share this information and then giving people like me an opportunity to be seen by your community. We're
Yeah. And
co-creating something together, you and I, cultivating a new earth.
yes. And I feel like you're going to be seeing a lot more. I feel that. I feel like this expansive light coming out of you. So I feel like you're going to be seeing a lot more. So that's really exciting for me too, because I love to see people get out there that I know are going to be able to help people shift things in their own lives. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us again on this episode of Spiritually Speaking. I appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so this information can get out to as many people as are meant to hear it. Thank you all. And until next time, I love you all.